Unidentified flying objects, or UFOs, have been a topic of interest for decades. However, some of the most credible and even concerning cases involve military personnel. There have been several reports of UFO sightings at nuclear bases, with some suggesting that they have even had direct effects on the weapons. The sightings have been reported by various military officials and have sparked debates on the nature of these sightings and their potential implications. While some have dismissed these sightings as mere coincidences, others have argued that they are a serious concern given the sensitive nature of nuclear weapons. In 1967, a group of U.S. military personnel reported sighting a UFO hovering over a nuclear missile site at Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana. The UFO reportedly caused the missiles to malfunction, with some missiles shutting down completely. Such an incursion at any military facility is cause for concern and further investigation. But these are no ordinary military bases. These sites house the most powerful weapons known to man. Nuclear weapons have the potential to cause mass destruction, and any interference, intentional or unintentional, could lead to catastrophic consequences. The military and the scientific community should take these reports seriously. While there are skeptics who dismiss these reports as mere coincidences or fabrications, the widespread nature of these sightings suggests that they might be something more, and patterns begin to emerge in the data. Therefore, it is crucial that these reports are investigated thoroughly to determine their nature and potential implications. The safety and security of nuclear weapons should be top priority for the military and the scientific community. Shockingly, though, officials have not only turned a blind eye to these incidents, but have even made an effort to bury them altogether, as if to prevent actual investigative measures from being taken. Many people tend to believe that Roswell and the alleged crashes that took place in 1947 were the beginning of the modern UFO era. But what if we told you it may be part of a larger sequence of events, spanning many years? Nuclear technology and weapons seem to be at the center of this phenomenon, along with other resources. Could the advent of weapons of mass destruction have altered the timeline of Earth's coming of age? In August of 1945, testing of the Manhattan Project and those weapons of mass destruction started at a site known as Trinity. The atomic age blasted off in a big way. New Mexico saw the earliest test, but just a couple of weeks later, something even more interesting seems to have taken place. To preface this, remember that the term UFO and flying saucer were not a part of the public's lexicon in August of 1945. This was a couple of months before the now famous Kenneth Arnold sighting of 9 craft. Was Kenneth's sighting and the subsequent sightings after all part of this larger series of events? Like most, the Trinity UFO case is held up mostly by eyewitness testimony of seemingly sane and sober witnesses. A local rancher, his 2 sons, and later a pilot from the military were among the known witnesses. The rancher and his 2 sons observed the craft falling from the sky. The object was shaped like an avocado or egg rather than a disc, wobbling visibly and clearly in trouble, and was headed on a collision course with a communications tower just at the edge of the testing site and the farmland. The witnesses not only heard the craft, but felt it on impact as well. One of the witnesses was even blinded in one eye by the light that came from the craft, something we are all too familiar with in UFO encounters: physiological effects from being too close to an event related to one of these objects. After crashing into the comms tower and deforming it, the craft hit the ground, ripping a trench into the earth and skipping like a rock across water. The craft then lost momentum and came to a loud and grinding stop. Whatever this unusual object was made of, it was noticeably strong. It remained mostly intact with the exception of a large hole in one side. This was not made by human hands and did not originate on this earth. The rancher's children claim to have seen 3 occupants, and go on to describe them as having short statures roughly the size of a human child. Humanoid though, 2 legs, 2 arms, and a head. The mouth was small and was more like a slit below a small nose. The beings did not wear any headgear and wore a grayish-colored coverall. The beings were still in the craft when the children saw them, meaning the kids would have had to have seen them through a window or the hole that was created by the crash. It took days for authorities to arrive upon the scene, and by then, the beings were already gone. Again, the craft was mostly intact and was reportedly hauled away on a flatbed to an undisclosed location. The craft, the effects on humans who encountered it, impressions left on the environment and the earth where it impacted, and ties to the nuclear testing all make this case that much more interesting and worth looking into further. Jacques Vallée, a well-known and highly respected researcher and former government contractor, is among the many individuals looking into this event, having even published a book with co-author Paola Harris. Most recently, the National Defense Authorization Act of fiscal year 2023, which was recently signed into law by President Biden, included an amendment that pushed back the dates of origin and research to 1945, insinuating that this case would be looked at and studied further. The fact remains that the reports of UFO sightings at nuclear bases have been consistent and widespread. The sightings have been reported by military personnel from multiple countries, which suggests that there might be something more to these sightings than mere coincidences. Therefore, it is imperative that these reports are investigated thoroughly to determine their nature and their potential implications on this planet.